Yo, what's up guys? New video talking about Liam. Wanted to make a video on him for quite a while back actually, but got held up by other videos, other stuff I had to do and that kind of stuff. So, talking about Liam, is he worth it? If we would change something to him, what will we change? How will we buff or nerf or anything? There's been a few people that already made videos on him, but I want to give my take on it and I want to show you some damage comparisons for putting an exact same set towards other units and those kind of things. So first of all, looking at the skills, we got the S1, same as all of the weapon masks, just the double slash thingy, that's it. S2 is going helicopter mode on someone's ass. I actually thought this would be decent against maybe Wusa's beneficial block, that kind of stuff. I did not max skill mine, so keep in mind, the S2 is supposed to do 25% more damage, and the S3 is also supposed to do 25% more damage. So for the S3, the main thing is, if there's 3 units or more, he will do an AoE slash. If there's 2 units or less, he will do a single target slash. Multiple slashes. Gonna talk some bit more about these skills later, and then we have a leader skill. But first of all, let's actually look at something that I think is pretty interesting to look at when we look at units in the first place. So they have the multipliers of the damage, which is, well, it looks a little bit weirder because we're actually looking at like a plus of also the target's max HP and that kind of stuff. So the multiplier is a little bit more difficult to read than for other things, but I would say these multipliers aren't that high. What is very high though is his base attack. His base attack is crazy high. His base HP is very low. His base defense is on a good amount. He goes for a awaken into crit rate, so 30 crit rate, which is pretty nice. And that is pretty much it. He does have attack lead. And I actually had the choice of picking him or Carlos, which is the fire one. And I chose this one mainly for the reason that I thought the S2 and also the S3 would be maybe good killers on the Wusa meta that we have right now. Issue, however, is this thing is on that low base HP that you're pretty much gonna get one shot by a Wusa S2. So making this thing a bruiser is fairly difficult already in the first place. So what I then went for is going him as a arena offense hitter or a siege offense hitter. So we currently have a set that is not too much on the attack, but quite some on the crit damage. It is a somewhat premium set, I would say, but it's by far not one of my best sets. So just to keep it kind of like reasonable that people could achieve this. Artifacts, we got like crit damage good and skill 3 crit damage, and then some more crit damage good on this side. So those are the things we are working with. Let's go for a few hits with the Liam. So let's actually focus on a team that has quite a lot of HP. This is actually my own team. I'm gonna use a very standard, typical cleave team that you see a lot. This Mo Long has a lot of HP, but also a lot of defense. There's actually a lot of defense in this Mo Long. So let's actually see how much damage this S2 and S3 can do, and then we're gonna switch some runes to, or switch those runes to another unit. See if, let's say, a Poseidon does more or less damage on it as well. The speed on my unit currently is just plus 100, which is actually kind of slow for a cleaver on this kind of way. So what do we have here if we do the S2? How much damage do? We do 13k per hit on armor breaks, which is a decent amount. It's actually not that bad. And we got the beneficial block and we got glancing on it. So that's actually not too bad, I would say, for an S2. Keep in mind, plus 25% damage. Then we're looking at what, 15k-ish, 30k AoE. But it's a very damagey set without too much extra speed, not too much extra HP or anything like that. So let's look at the S3 ultimate power. 33k, which I think is very low. My main issue is, okay, sure, we could add like 25% to the damage, but I would say 33k for an S3 is somewhat on the low side. I do, however, want to also check one more thing. Let's say we remove one unit here from the field. By removing one unit from the field, it means that this unit is going to do his S3 as a single target hit. So let's see how much that actually works for and how much does that improve for the damage. Okay, we got armor breaks. We hit 10Ks, and if I'm not mistaken, that's 2 hits And then we go for 4 more hits, if I'm not mistaken. I actually have to read the skill description if I want to be sure. Also, that's added by 25%, so that will be like 12k. Wait, how much damage is that then? That's like an 80k hit or something close to, which I think is a very high hitting hit. That's 80k is a lot of damage, that's for sure. It is 6 hit, right? Yeah, it hits 6 times. Okay, so let me actually grab a calculator for a sec, because, well, we hit about 10k's. Yeah, so that would be this is about a 75k hit, which I would say is a very high damage hit in one go. That's definitely true. But it's by all means not one of the strongest single targets out there. Or is it, though? No, I think it's... Okay, sure, you cannot really compare it to, let's say, a copper or anything like that. How much is the S1, actually? Not bad. S1 damage is actually not bad, not gonna lie. But... yeah, it might be one of the stronger S1 or like single target hits out there, but the issue is that you actually have to be on 2 targets or less to actually get for that hit. So we did about 33k's with an added 25%. We would be looking at like a 41, 42, maybe 43k AoE on skill ups with this exact set. So let's actually switch this set to Poseidon and see if Poseidon does more or less damage. Sure, Poseidon actually does increase damage because of the speed, but the speed on this set is that low that I think it's kind of fine. And I couldn't really think of another water unit that can also transfer the exact same artifacts over pretty easily to just see what kind of damage you have on that thing. Also keep in mind, Poseidon damage should actually be lower because his S3 does a lot more than just damage, whereas Liam's S3, which makes it kind of meh, it's like it decreases attack speed, but that could be something else that it would be a lot more beneficial. If this skill would actually armor break, and then you have like the S3 that goes on single target and that armor breaks, then you're kind of looking at like a Han kind of skill, which doesn't even give you increased attack bar, so don't start calling it like, oh, that would be super OP, because Han does that and increases its own attack bar. I think it would not even be that OP compared to like a Han S3, and I think it would be semi-fair to give it to this unit, to just give armor break on that hit, because decrease attack speed, that doesn't really matter too much. But let's switch the sets. Okay, so Poseidon has the exact same set right now. He does not awaken into crit rate, so keep that in mind. And he has his skill up, so we're looking at that Poseidon should hit at least like 40k plus on a critter. And keep in mind that this skill actually does a lot more because it depletes the attack bar, it gives the slow buff, it does a lot of other things as well. So let's see, about same damage. So Poseidon, besides doing a lot more because removing your attack bar for 100% is a lot more beneficial than just giving the slow, does about the same damage as Liam does on the S3 when it's AoE. Sure, you have to keep in mind that the speed kind of matters for this unit more than for the other one. But with that said, the damage of Liam is actually kind of weak if you look at the pure HP that, or the pure attack that the unit has. Because if we check Liam 900 base, if you check Poseidon 790 base. And I'm hitting someone, keep that in mind as well, with very high max HP. Because I'm hitting a Molong that's like somewhat like 50k HP plus. So, with that said, I feel like Liam is pretty weak on his damage. How would you change his kit to make him viable? I think the S2, it's nothing crazy, but I think it's fine as is, actually. I would mainly focus on switching the S3. What I would personally like to see is that you can always choose whether you want to do the AoE S3 or the single target S3. That if you tap your S3, you have maybe like 2 switches. Let me know in the comments what you think about that. And you can actually select to go for the single target S3, because I think the single target S3 is actually a very good skill and would be very beneficial because you can go for some single target kills. Maybe combine it with like the Carlos, which makes it pretty good if you single target kill stuff, with Nanas, with a whole bunch of things. Then I can see it work. Because this unit is very difficult to fit in as a bruiser because it doesn't have any mechanics of survivability. It doesn't add too much besides the buff block. It doesn't have a heal block, but I think the buff block is nice. That one is definitely workable. But the S3, the attack speed slow, that's not enough. I would like to see if this thing would actually give armor break. Let's say the rate to armor break on this thing would be like 50%. And then I think it would be actually fair. Because if we look at it, Han does pretty much same thing with probably less damage. But I think actually a Han can do more damage than Liam in the first place, while also armor breaking on the S3, while also giving the full attack bar on the S3. So sure, I don't need the full attack bar on the S3, but just armor breaking. Was doing something else on the S3, I think that's very fair. So guys, let me know in the comments what you think about it. To the question, is Liam worth it? I do not think Liam is worth it. Where is Liam currently good? He is actually very good at farming Phaemon. He's actually very... I was solo leveling Liam, and this thing slashes the shit out of Phaemon. So yeah, he does have some usage if you're like starting a new account and this is your first net 5. Liam can definitely be your farmer over your Magic Mike. Yeah. Is he really... doesn't make him good? Nah. Would he be good in TOA? Let's actually give him a shot at TOA. Let's actually give him back the runes. Give him a shot at TOA. See if he does a lot of damage in TOA hard. Since I don't know if I outspeed this with just 100 speed, this is TOA hard 99. Let's see if these are actually good units to hit for. I don't know. Okay, that's, I guess, fine. Okay, he's not really gonna hit on most of these, but apparently you still have outspeed. Fine, let's see how much damage this actually does on the Cadiz. 45k. Nothing too crazy. I'm pretty sure that's... Actually, I feel like that the HP doesn't really change that much of the damage output. So sure, you would have to keep in mind 25% extra damage, but so far, did I make the bad mistake on picking the Liam over the Carlos? Well, I think Mr. Liam Nelson is not gonna hunt you down and kill you in this case because he's not doing enough damage, and Mr. Carlos Rodriguez might actually be better, but that's a single target kill that you actually have to make kills for before you start stacking and actually doing damage. So I wouldn't necessarily say if neither of them is that good. I haven't had my chance to play around with Mr. Dominic Toretto, the wind one. I think Dominic Toretto might actually be the best one because it's one of the few units I would say that is good as a wind unit on a vampire set. If you look at RTA, there's only this many units that can fit a vampire set that can have potential to solo the whole enemy team. And Fuki is kind of one of those, but because of his mechanic that he's only doing damage based on HP, it gets worse. And Mr. Dominic Toretto might actually be slapping the shit out of full water teams. However, it's not that common that you draft into a full water team and then you slap in Mr. Toretto on a vampire set, which might actually be pretty good. So that's my take on Liam for now. Hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one.